श्रुति स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Sure, Guru.
So from verse number 7. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ग्लानिर्भवति भारत
ग्लानिर्भवति भारत
अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य
अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य
तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्
तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्
परित्राणाय साधूनां
परित्राणाय साधूनां
विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां
विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां
धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय
धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय
भवामि युगे युगे
संभवामि युगे युगे
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम्
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम्
एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः
एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः
त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म
त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म
नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन
नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः
मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः
मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः
बहवो ज्ञानतपसा
बहवो ज्ञानतपसा
पूता मद्भावमागताः
पूता मद्भावमागताः
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते
तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम्
तांस्तदैव भजाम्यहम्
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वसः
Again, ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते
तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम्
तांस्तदैव भजाम्यहम्
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वसः
Yeah. So, in the previous shloka, verse number 10, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodhaha. So, there he, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, said that many people have recognized me. So, Jnana Tapasa, emphasizing the importance of that knowledge of that identity between Jiva and Ishvara. They have gained me. This is a very popular phrase in our Shastra. Gained me. Brahmavid apnoti param. Like that. Taittiriya Upanishad. So, madbhavam agataha. They have come towards me. They have gained my stature, my state. Brahmavid apnoti param. The knower of Brahman gains the limitless. Like this, you have all these statements. Apnoti. So generally, this gaining, when somebody says, it is always of something that did not exist before. So I lost some money in the stock market, I gained it back. I lost some money in the business and I gained it back. This is how it is. I gained, I got, I accomplished, I achieved. All these words we use. I made. So what I made something that did not exist. Sambar was not there. I made some good sambar because sambar. We are all from Tamil Nadu, and without sambar, our life doesn't move. And so we need sambar or rasam, things like that. And so there is always something that was absent. Then it was achieved. It was produced. It was gained. I wanted to go somewhere, so I went, I reached that place. So this is a very common statement, even here also. So, madbhavam agataha, they reached me, they became me, like that statement is there. And of course, we understand it, that you really cannot become what you are not. You cannot become what you are not. This we have to keep reminding ourselves. And so here, Shankara says, there is a question, Bahavaha Jnana Tapasa. And Arjuna may ask the question, Bahavaha, many people, why not everybody? Sarve Jnana Tapasa, he should have said. And everybody, it's for everybody, not some specially chosen people, So some people say chosen few, we are all the chosen people, they say. No, that's not correct. That appears like partiality. So Arjuna may have a question. How could you say Bahavaha? Many, okay, many is better than a few, but still, for that, he's going to answer the question here. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham. So, yatha, tatha. Once again, you got the yatha and tatha combination. Yatha is there, second word Yatha is there, and Tatha is hiding. Hiding in the word is the second word from the last. It's hiding. Tan Tatha eva bhajami aham. Tatha. So Yatha Tatha. Just as, so also. So just as what, so also what? Just as mam prapadyante, just as people invoke me, in whatever form people invoke me, in however manner people invoke me, tatha tan aham bhajami. Aham bhajami. Bhajami, several meanings are there. I bless. I give them what they want. Tatha, so also, tan, them. I bless them. That's what he's saying. So he's saying, what is he saying? Don't blame me. Arjuna, don't blame me. Don't blame me for this. In fact, I am very generous. I don't tell them anything. 4 Purusharthas are there. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha is there. Go for whatever you want. And I'll bless you. I may give some clues here and there. But if you miss the clues, what can I do about that? So don't attribute any kind of partiality to me. Okay. Arjuna, that's what he's saying here. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. And so invoking, so we all invoke Bhagavan. Typically, we worship, we do puja. And the typical worship is, may you give me this, may you protect me from that. May my children do well. Very important. All important prayers. And that prayer is there. And so we all invoke. In our Shastram especially, you've got we have a choice of our Ishta Devata, and we can worship anybody at any time. So, the God, Goddess, anything you want, we can worship. And for whatever specific reasons also we can do. So like this, we are blessed with that kind of a culture. And so we have the choice. We can worship Bhagavan in any form and also for any purpose. Okay, we can do that. So it's actually an important verse in that Bhagavan is validating all forms of worship. Correct? All is validating. He doesn't say anything is wrong or right. He's validating. So very important for us to know that. Now, what's interesting is our devatas they have particular form, and our murtis are all dark in color, and Krishna is sometimes blue, sometimes dark. The word Krishna itself means dark. And they say, so Krishna, 2 people talk, one fellow says Krishna. Krishna means what? The amount I quoted to you just now. Some amount I quoted, some several lakhs of rupees. And that's Krishna. Krishna means it has to be under the table. And so like this, they use some words which most people who are not in that framework, they won't understand all this. So our Bhagavans are all in a particular way. They're all dark, whatever. And what about the God, the Western God? How will the Western God look like? The chances are most likely the American God has to be a Caucasian. It cannot be African American God, right? How it can be African American? Means dark. Not possible. Because we need somebody whom we can relate to. That's all. Brown color means brown color. Dark color means dark color. Fair means fair. So we have no problem with that. An Abrahamic religion can have a problem because it takes it very seriously. And they take it very seriously, and they have problems. And so likewise, if there's a community of dogs, and if dogs were able to talk, and if they can have their own Vedas and their own Puranas, what will the God of dogs be? The god of dogs has to be a dog only. It can't be anything else, because a dog can relate to a dog only. And so this is how it is. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. And people worship me in many ways, many forms. You know some, but I know many, many forms people worship me. They've called me for a lot of things. And so I know that. Hey Krishna. And there is a story I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. It's there in our Puranas, I think. And the boy was pestering the father. God, tell me how I should visualize God. Tell me where is God and how do you visualize? I want to visualize him. The father got angry. The God is a buffalo. And so the child just started meditating on Bhagavan as in the form of a buffalo, because the child knows what a buffalo is. Irumamad, because Irumamad in many places, so I think at least in India, Yerumamada means it's an insult. It's scolding the person. Yeruma. Yeruma means you don't know. You're an idiot. This is the meaning of the word buffalo. And you don't understand anything. So Yerumamad. So father said Yerumamad, buffalo. And so he thought buffalo is God is buffalo. So he started meditating. And he had no problem. Then they were in the temple, they were getting the Utsava Murti out. They were getting that Bhagavan's Murti out for a procession. And this Murti is not coming out. They're not able to move out, getting stuck at the door. And the boy points out and says, wait, God's horns are stuck on the door. Wait. And he comes and moves it. And then the Murti moves out. I heard this story. People keep quoting this. It must be there somewhere. I don't know where the story is. And it's amazing. So it's a way. Bhagavan has his ways to show his lila and his darshana he gives like this. And so we have no problem. You can worship God in any way you want. And ye yatha ma prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajami ham. And I will do that. And I will bless them. I am not going to tell them moksha is important. Vivekananda said once that when Bhagavan appears in front of a beggar, a homeless person, Bhagavan should have some food in his hands. He can't, food and clothes must be there, because that's what the person wants. And or maybe you can ask and then find out what he wants and then get. So what the person wants only Bhagavan should give. That is the nature of Bhagavan. And therefore, that's what Krishna is telling here. And so we do the same thing. The child is crying for the balloon. And the parents give the child. The parent doesn't say, you know what? You don't know, Vikram. You don't know. You are so ignorant. We are buying a 5th house for you. 5th house. Real estate prices are good right now. Now is the time to buy. Look at all this stuff. Look at the internet. This is what we are doing research on. Okay. And no, this is not what the child wants to hear. Parent knows that very well. So you want a balloon? Okay, we'll get you a balloon. We'll get you more balloons. 2, 3, 5, 10, I'll get you. Don't worry. That's what it is. And the hope for the parent is the child will grow out of these balloons and ask for something else, look for something beyond the balloon. And so this is how Bhagavan also is. And no problem. No, that Bhagavan doesn't make any judgments. We may make judgments of people, but Bhagavan does not. And so we worship Bhagavan in our own favorite form, Ishtadevata. You go to certain gymnasiums here in India, you will find Hanuman. Big picture of Hanuman. Life-size picture of Hanuman. That's appropriate. You come there and people are coming there to, do some push-ups and pull-ups and pull some weights. And their biceps, the guy goes back home and then looks at his biceps like this. So that person's entire life is based on the size of the biceps. And so that's how it is. Bhagavan says, I am your biceps. No problem. And then, hey, Bajrang Bali ki jai, and then go. So Bajrang Bali is manifest in the form of his biceps. And no problem there. We have no problem. And so Bhagavan says, I will bless you. Whatever you want, I bless you with. I suppose that's why they said, be careful what you ask also. And so when the child cries, young baby, 3 months old, 4 months old, the child cannot say a single word, doesn't know how to express its feeling. The mother has to figure out, is this a cry of hunger, or is it some kind of stomach pain, or what is going on? We can't figure out. This is a very tricky situation for a few months, a year, until the child talks. Child should at least point to the stomach and say stomach is hurting. At least that's a great clue. But those clues, it takes some while for those clues to come out. So mother is different. She's watching. Yeah, the child is in pain. I need to help her. I need to help him. And so helps her in whatever way they need to get helped. And so, ye yatha mam prapadyante. Prapadyante, invoke. Invoking. So this prayer is a very important thing. So we invoke. Whether there is that's a religion. Religion involves prayer. And whatever form of prayer it is, whatever language it is said in, okay, however sophisticated the language is, I want rains to come. And so many people did 2 years ago, they did Homa. They did a Homa for rains, etc. And so we do that, very common in India. In every culture it's common. It should be common, I think. So here we will chant Om Hiranyavarna Suchayah Pavakaya Sujato Kashyapo Yasvindraha Varuna Agnimyadutam Dadire Virupastana Apashyagyasona Bhavantu Shivena Machakrusha Yasatum Raja. Like this it goes. And so people are all chanting together. Then the rains come. Then what about the African? How is he or she going to do this? So they will have a dance. Dabi Muru Kolo Do. Dabi Muru Kolo Do. Dabi Muru Kolo Do. And guess what? The rains do come. That means what? That means what? You don't have to know Sanskrit for rains to come. You don't have to study grammar for rains to come. For praying, we don't need any special qualification. And whatever way you know to express that prayer, you express it. And the child doesn't know much, and it has a way of expressing its feelings, and it gets things. And so that prayer has no language. And Mam Prapadyante, because Prapadyante there implies invoking me, Krishna says, those who invoke me. So we have ways of invoking Bhagavan, and it's not specific to any culture. It's an expression of a feeling, of a need, and it's a genuine expression. As long as the expression is genuine, then the result has to be there. Okay, that is what we believe. And so all prayers are valid. Swamiji makes a point to say all prayers are valid in any language, in any culture, in any religion. It's valid. And Swamiji will add a footnote. All prayers are valid does not mean all religions are the same. All prayers are valid does not mean all religions have the same goal. They don't have the same goal. Please understand that. Like that he would say repeatedly. Because they don't. First of all, they're not identical. That's why you have different names for different religions. That's why they worship different devatas. Therefore, they're not identical. And one person says Jesus is an avatar of Vishnu. Another person says you are worshipping a false god and you are not even worshipping God. It's obviously not different. How much more obvious can it be? Why do we need a lecture on this? We don't need a lecture on this. It's very obvious. So when it comes to these real issues, we have all kinds of differences. And so Swamiji makes it a point to mention these things when he comes to this topic. And so real issues become, Vidya Parashuraman asked a question in the satsang. Satsang question was, I am reading so many religious books. I think some of you attended the satsang will remember that. And I'm still confused. And this clarity is not there. Okay. This is a question, very important question to talk about. Clarity is not there. First of all, clarity will only develop in time, no doubt about that. And why they have written Bhagavad Gita, so many 700 plus verses are there. And they don't want us to understand all that overnight. It's not going to happen. And we are all oriented to something else. We are trying to reorient ourselves, and the reorientation takes time. And clarity will come. Bhagavan is there. Clarity has to come. Jagat Guru is there. That's one thing. Another thing is, the more religious books you read without getting some clarity, the more confused you will become. Okay. Some of you may not be expecting me to say that. Because everybody is there, everybody says something different. Even Jayakumarji today he says something, tomorrow he says something else. That's what is bothering me, I hope it doesn't happen too often. But everybody is going to say something different. This is why the advice I give people is, you ask your Guruji, what is your definition of moksha? Just ask the question. Then everything will become clear. Because the person, whatever the person teaches, has to follow the definition of moksha. Is moksha a real problem or a seeming problem? You ask all these pointed questions. Is moksha to be gained after death or to be gained while living? Very direct questions. What is your definition of moksha? Do you believe in moksha, first of all? That also you can ask. Nothing wrong. So, is moksha gained by a technique or not? Is moksha a result of karma or not? If it is a result of karma, then it is called karma phalam. Phalam, the definition of phalam is phalgudaya liyate iti phalam. That which perishes is called phalam. Ask these pointed questions. Nobody can stand. Very few people can stand this kind of scrutiny. They will look at you and they will simply look at you and won't respond. If they get trapped like this, they won't respond. Because you're asking very pointed questions. So, without getting a background first, once you have a background of Vedanta, then you can start analyzing everything. You can read any number of religious books and you will know exactly what they're talking about, and you will know if this is bogus or not also. Correct? How many of you have had that experience? Yeah, I see a few hands, 5, 6 hands. Yeah, this is important. Clarity is important. And so this whole journey is so sacred, so important, that that clarity has to be provided. Otherwise, it's all nebulous. It's all mystical. And they call themselves mystics also. Mystic means what? A mystic is somebody whose language is all very beautiful to hear. But what is it teaching? Teaching is not there. Therefore, a mystic cannot create another mystic. How? Tell me how a mystic can create a mystic. What is the communication? What makes a person a mystic? I want to know. So this word mystic, we have to be very careful. And it seems very attractive, And so we got to be very clear. If it's confusing, you ask the person all these questions. I need to know the answers to these questions. Otherwise, there's no point in me studying all these books. It is all confusing me. Yes, many books will confuse. That is the answer I did not give in that satsang. Suddenly it came to me. So I wanted to share that. Guaranteed confusion. Okay. And on the other hand, once the clarity is there, hey, the result of karma is limited. That's why it's called karma phalam. And no action can give you moksha. Moksha can only be that which already is. Limitless cannot be gained by limited efforts. Limitless has to be who you are. If this clarity is there, the whole world is there for you. The whole world is there for you. All religions are there for you for analysis, and everything will fall in place. Fall in place. This is wrong. You can even say this is wrong. These people are clueless. You can say that. Clueless and still be very happy, because there's no pressure to change anybody. And so that we need to gain that clarity. And Swamiji, this Advaita Academy has invited me for an interview next week. And one of the things they want me to talk about is misconceptions in Advaita and in this path in general. So it's a great topic. Pujya Swamiji is a master in this. He was a master. We learned so much from him. And he is a master at demolishing misconceptions. The first class I sat that I heard of him in Sailorsburg in the US, he said, Hindus don't just believe in God, Hindus know God. He said this. After the satsang, I fell at his feet after that class. I said, this is what I'm looking for. All along, I've been confused. Everybody has read all kinds of books, and somebody has to say these things. And then I fell. And then I like duck to water, I took to it. That's it. I purchased the whole library. I just went and bought every cassette that is out those days, cassettes, And then Atma Bodha, Atma, any text which has the word Atma or Viveka in it, I just bought. Tattva Bodha, buy it. You will figure out later, because it's a long distance. I don't know when I'll come back to this ashram. And so that's how it is. That's how the journey is. And so Swamiji was a master at it. And so therefore here Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. In whatever way they worship, I bless them. And which is a true statement, which is obviously true. Mama vartma anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. Mama vartma anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. Does this ring a bell? Does this second line ring a bell? Third chapter, it was there, I think. Third chapter, number 22 or 23. Yadi hyaham na varteyam jatu karmanya tandritaha mama vartmanu vartante. I think manushya partha sarvashaha. I think so. Okay. So, there, chapter 3, go back to 23 or something. And there Krishna is telling Arjuna, you got to do what your duty is. There's nobody in the world who should not be doing something other than his or her duty. And take me as an example, he says, Krishna, Yedi hyaham na varteyam. Even me, I have to do my duty, like that Krishna is saying. If I don't do what is to be done, Mama Vartmanu Vartante, people will follow my example, and they will go astray. That is the context there. Okay. Even I do my duty, like that Krishna was saying. So here I think it is the same thing. You may confirm that. Okay. Mama Vartma. Vartma means my life, whatever I do, and they follow. Mama Vartma Anuvartante. Anu, the prefix Anu in Sanskrit means following. Vartante means to be, to do, to do something. But Anuvartante, to do something following somebody or something or some text or some teacher. It is called Anu. So Anugacchati. Rama, Sita and Lakshmana are going in the forest. Who is walking first? Okay. So Lakshmana is walking first, not Rama, Lakshmana, because he's clearing the way for Rama and Sita. And likely second, Sita is following. Then third is Rama. Rama is at the end. This is my guess. And so there we say, Sita Lakshmanam Anugacchati. Sita is following Lakshmana. Ramaha Lakshmanam Anugacchati. Rama is following Lakshmana. Like that. So Anu, that word Anu comes. Here also, Anuvartante. So people follow. Who follow? Manushya. Manushya. Obviously, Manushya. Animals don't need Krishna. Animals don't need a religion because they don't have free will. They are not self-conscious, and their lives are driven by instincts. They're programmed. Therefore, Manushyaha, they follow. And Manushyaha. And here, Swamiji also makes a point to mention that even the fellow is not religious. We may call the person an atheist. We may give so many names to these people. And Bhagavan says, even the communist whose only religion is the state is above all. The individual has no say in the state's affairs, and everybody is equal, and the state is above all. Everybody has to share their wealth so that we can serve everybody. This is the communist philosophy. That's their God. Statism is their God. China is surviving, no problem there. Russia is surviving, there's no problem. And at least, we may think they have problems, but they don't think they have problems. Okay. I wonder, what happens to these? Why certain things don't happen? I think they're all happy being over. Yeah, that's it. And so all those religions, doesn't matter. If religion has a name, doesn't have a name, nothing. So it's all me alone. Ye mam prapadyanti. However they worship, it is all me alone. And so what is everyone seeking? Look at that. Manushyaha partha sarvashaha. In whatever way they seek, they are only seeking me. They're following me only. Like that he's saying. So this, a farmer was in the evening time, in the night, he was with his family and with his grandchildren. He was playing on the beach, and then after a hard day's work and enjoying the breeze, etc. And so there walks in a consultant, the modern day consultant, working for the Big Four or whatever, KPMG, whatever. Those days we used to work with Arthur Andersen and Andersen Consulting and all that. I don't know if those companies are there, exist now or not, but I hear these words KPMG, etc. So consultant walks to the farmer and tells the farmer, what do you do? Oh, I've got about 6 cows, and so I sell milk. Cow gives me milk. I sell milk, and I do some little farming. I do. So that's how I live. I think you should buy a few more cows. You should buy. Why should I buy a few more cows? So you can get more money. You can provide milk to more people, and you can provide grains to more people. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. But what will I do with all that money I get? Hey, then you can build a big Goshala with 50 cows. You can hire 2 people. Don't worry. Don't think you have to do all the work. You will have money to hire people also. All your wife, right now your wife is working, your children are working. No, don't worry. You don't have to do all that. Your children, you can send them to school and you can hire employees. Oh, really? That's nice. But then after that, I'll get more money. What will I do with all that money? Look, are there many Goshalas around? Yes. You can buy a couple of Goshalas and you can become bigger. Don't think you should sell milk only in this community. You can go out and sell also. You can buy a truck, milk van. Oh, I see. This is amazing. I didn't think of it. But then what will I do with all that money that I get after all this? Have you heard of Avin? Avin. Yeah, I think so. This milk packets. Yeah. Avin. See, everybody is buying Avin milk. You can compete against Avin. Avin milk is, Amul and Avin and all that. They're not making it here. They're making it somewhere. They're shipping it here. Look at all that. You can do the same thing. Oh, really? Yes, you can do that. I'll teach you how to do that. And okay, but all the money, what will I do with so much money? You can relax and you can hire people and you don't have to do any work and you can enjoy. Then he says, what am I doing now? I am enjoying. You said I can enjoy the cool breeze and all that. I'm enjoying the breeze right now. I'm playing with my family. This is exactly what I'm doing now. And the consultant walked away to the next farmer, I suppose. So this is how it is. Life is like that. We go round and round and round and round and round. Finally, we say, honey, I think we don't need a car. Sometimes we do that. We look for all these things. Finally, we said, do we really need a car? We already have 3 cars. We are struggling to maintaining these 3 vehicles. And so I don't think we need a car. So we'll have to talk to our son and we have to, let's do that. I think that's a smarter thing to do. Okay. So like this, we just go around and come back home. Finally, we come back home. So this is how life seems to be. And and so this child also cries, not knowing what, does so many things. And the mother has to figure out, this is the right thing for you and do it. And like that life goes. And so this, what everybody is seeking, we talked about 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And dharma is there, artha is there, kama is there. But really speaking, underlying all these things is moksha. So even though the Shastram talks of 4 purusharthas, it boils down to one. We're all seeking that same enjoyment of the breeze and being with family and just that joy is what we're all seeking. And Swamiji says, freedom from smallness. He says it's not correct to say we are all seeking fullness, etc. It's not correct because we don't know what fullness is. We don't really know what it is. We only know Ananda, experiential Ananda is there, Sukha is there, happiness is there. And that experience is there very much. That decides what we do. But we also know what is smallness, feeling wretched, feeling insulted. Nobody wants to feel insulted, feeling ignored. I've been telling you all these things all these days. You've been ignoring me. That's the problem. Okay. So feeling ignored, feeling just not taken seriously, all these things are problems for us. So we know that feeling of smallness is there. So these experiences we have, and all we want is we want to be free from those experiences. That's the best we can say. And then moksha comes, and then moksha becomes slowly, becomes real for us and important for us. And so, having said that, so here, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmano vartante manushyaha partha he partha sarvashah. So let's do that. Let's translate the shloka now. Those who worship me in whatever way, ye yatha mam prapadyante, those who worship me in whatever way, comma, I bless them in the same way. Aham tan tatha eva bhajami. I bless them in the same way. Bhajami, bless. Full stop. Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, people follow my path in all ways. People follow my path in all ways. Vartma, literal meaning of Vartma is path. Manushyaha sarvashaha mama vartma anuvartante. Manushyaha sarvashaha mama vartma anuvartante. So whether the person knows or not, the person may not know what the person is seeking and keeps on doing things. And in fact, Krishna is going to tell next why people do what they do. Okay, why don't they look into it a little more? Why don't they ask a few more questions, fundamental questions? Is this going to keep me really happy? Like that, why don't they ask? He's going to answer that in the next shloka, which we shall chant now. Okay, who would like to be next? Yeah, Dia Parasuraman. Go ahead. Okay, verse number 12. Kangshantaha
Kangshantaha
karmanam siddhim
karmanam siddhim
yajanta iha devataha
yajanta iha devataha
kshipram hi
kshipram hi
manushe loke
manushe loke
siddhirbhavati
siddhirbhavati
karmaja
karmaja
kankshantah karmanam siddhim
कांक्षन्तः कर्मणा सिद्धिं
yajanta iha devataha
यजन्त इह देवताः
kshipram hi manushe loke
क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके
siddhirbhavati karmaja.
सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा.
Yeah. So by the way, I didn't mean to discourage anybody here, including Vidya, when I said a lot of religious books leads to confusion. Think about it. It's a fact because everybody is coming from a different point of view. Whereas you are honest and you are trying to reconcile everything, and it's impossible to reconcile it. That's where the problem lies. From their own perspective, they may be right, but we are trying to reconcile everything, and they won't reconcile unless you know the tattvam. They won't reconcile, right? Unless this Advaita Vedanta is known, you can't understand Dvaita and Vishishta Advaita. Or you can say Dvaita and Vishishta Advaita in their own way can be understood. It's not difficult. But once you come to Advaita, then you can say, now I can see everybody's point of view. Everybody's point of view can be seen. So I actually tried this. I experimented with this. After I studied under Swamiji and I really understood a lot. And then I used to then re-attend some of the Swamis who used to come. I used to always make it a point to attend any programs that happen locally. And then, whether it is, the Swamiji here, there, whatever, many Swamis I attended. Then their point of view became very clear. Crystal clear it became. And then I could decide, no, this is, I know exactly what it is. This is not for me. So I can decide that. So I know what I will get if I go there. That's very obvious. And so like that, it will become for everybody. So look at this. So here, he's saying, people worship devatas. People worship devatas. Okay. Why people worship devatas? That he's talking about. Why is that? Why do people lead the life the way they lead? Okay. He's saying that is because karma produces results quickly. There is nothing like action to accomplish results. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it to do. doing what needs to be done. There's nothing like it in order to produce results. And so we know that, we know how to do that very well. And therefore, people are doing what they are doing. Don't blame me for not giving everybody this vision of oneness, etc. Don't blame me. This karma is so powerful. It's so effective. That's what he's saying here. And this is all we know how to do. Something is missing, we have to get it. Therefore, we do something. And that's a way to accomplish things, no doubt. But this is all we know, in the sense that action, result, action, result, action, result. And then we come across moksha, action, result. So what actions I should do so I can get moksha? That becomes the question of this spiritual person, correct? That becomes valid question. And that what I should do is also karma only. It's going to be a series of actions. I'm going to be prayerful. I'm going to do my pujas properly. I'm going to lead a more alert life. All these are actions. I'm going to withdraw and prioritize my life. And I'm not going to just get lost in so many things that are there. And I'm going to say, no more going here, no more going there. And I am going to reduce my pursuits, and I'm going to reduce until I am focused on this. All this I can do. These are all actions. But we've seen this. Is moksha a result of action? It cannot be a result of action. Even though a lot of actions are involved, even though a lot of disciplines are involved, moksha cannot be a result of action. Because a result of a finite action is always going to be finite. Never be, it cannot be Purnam, because Shastram is talking about Purnatvam here, completeness. And so that completeness cannot be gained by action. Okay. This Krishna is telling here, Kangshantaha karmanam siddhim yajante iha devataha. Siddhim, karmanam siddhim kangshantaha, seeking limited ends, they worship me. Devataha yajante, those people, the people worship so many devatas seeking limited ends. And it works also. And whatever they do get. And therefore, they keep doing this all their life. Iha devataha. So, devataha, our idea of devataha is not ordinary. And so, it's actually a big blessing in this culture. Because we have not separated ourselves from Ishvara, and we consider Ishvara to be everywhere, and therefore we can worship every flower and every tree and every stone can be worshipped in our culture. Knowing that we are not actually worshipping the stone, we are worshipping Bhagavan, worshipping Ishvara, correct? We are invoking Ishvara in that stone. In that tree, we invoke Ishvara. In that person, we invoke Ishvara. And therefore, planets are there. Planets. It's amazing how, it's absolutely amazing. I thought about this and I'm just still amazed by it. And how our people connected our lives to the planets, to the celestial bodies. This whole idea of astronomy and astrology. And this astrology is just uncanny. Amazing how they can just look at your horoscope and then tell you what's all going on. They did that. My parents took my horoscope once, and then the person, whatever the person said was actually true about me. I was not there. My horoscope only was there. I was not even there to be interviewed. How they can do that? And that's because of this only. That's because of this connection that they figured out between some Jupiter. Jupiter is there in so many the miles and miles away. What does Jupiter, how it has got us that got to do with me? Huh? Saturn, Aeronautic Sani, Sade Sati. What is all this? It's mind-boggling, is it not? And so we have invoked devatas in every possible thing. It's actually amazing. it helps us. It actually helps us in many ways. And so we got this Navagrahas, especially in the temples in the southern part of India. We have all these Navagrahas. And so we worship Surya Devata, we worship okay, we worship Shani. Shani is worshipped because if you don't worship Shani, he gets angry with you apparently. And so nobody wants Adesati. Shani, we will worship you. You please stay where you are. Okay, this is our prayer to Shani. Amazing. Yama also we worship. We worship Yama. Every day we have a mantra. Yamaya Dharma Rajaya Mrityave Chantakaya Cha Vaivasataya Kalaya, etc. We have a beautiful mantra. We chant it thrice a day. We chant all these things. And so for us, Yama also becomes a Devata. Okay. So like this shloka is very interesting. Very interesting. And so we will continue this discussion. And Kankshantah karmanam siddhim yajante iha devataha kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. He's going to tell why that is, etc. We will see that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yeah, Vijay, you can stop the recording.